G'day folks, I just thought I'd do a bit of a progress video on how I'm getting the mill installed. It's going to be interesting. Height wise, the gantry doesn't quite have enough height to actually get it back on the stand as it is, so I'm going to do a few little things like take the motor off and have the sling and the lifting point right above the head. That'll give me plenty of clearance. I can just have the column come up past the chain block, and I'm also going to put the gantry itself on some extra stands. I'm going to just take some large chunky, I've got some 200mm by 50mm box section, quite a bit of it, so I'm just going to lay down box section on the floor and sit it on top of it, so I'll get another 100mm of height, and then I'll easily get it onto the stand and then down again. So yeah, right now I'm just cleaning it up, and I'm going to attach some UHMW PE to the feet so that it's easier to slide around with a pinch bar. Same as what I did with the tyre machine. I put little blocks of UHMW under the feet, and I can basically drag the thing around on my own with no real problem whatsoever. It's sticky enough to stay in place, but slippery enough that you're not struggling to drag it across the concrete. So the idea is the same, except it'll be heavier and I'll need a pinch bar. But well, just like the Battenfeld moulding machine, that was 1.6 tonnes or so, and I had it sitting on some 150mm UHMW donuts. There were 3 of them in total, I think, and I was able to move that thing around pretty easily with a pinch bar. So this won't be any different. I'll just have UHMW pads in each corner, and away we go. Should be pretty easy. The maintenance on the mill, I'm going to do that while it's on the stand. There's really nothing to take off that I need the crane for. Yeah, so I just want to get it on the stand so I can start wiping it down, clean it up, and just have it there out of the way. That way I can bring stuff back in to this bay and start working on it. The stand's 1200 wide, I think it's about 1200, and it will fit quite nicely in that bay there. The crane's still got to come back to that line, but once it's all in there, yeah, I'll have plenty of room for stock in the corner, bar stock, all that sort of thing. I'm going to web this in across the bottom. I'm going to web all of that in with steel rails and then put timber over the top of it for steel stock. A lot of this stuff's going to get thinned out. Anything that's really milling machine worthy, like round, rectangular or square stock, is going to end up under here. Anything that's turnable, like round tube and round bar, is going to stay under there for the lathe. Lathe will have its own round stock, mill will have its own rectangular and square stock, and if I have to share between the two, that's no problem. So not only is this adding the versatility of a mill, it's also giving me a nice sturdy place to store material stock, because at the moment that area is just overflowing with shit and usable stock, and it needs to be thinned out, sorted out, and actually segregated into 2 different areas. And that will be fantastic. That'll be a big step forward. So yeah, I'm going to web that in and put some plywood over the top of it, and that'll do it. So we'll have a solid storage area. Likewise, be able to shuffle stuff underneath, big chunky pieces, and yeah, milling machine on top. Hopefully I'll also get some of the bin rack hanger panel that I've got outside. I'll have one of them coming up there, so I've got the plastic hook tubs hanging off the front of it so I can put small items and tools and other things in them. So yeah, there'll be a plastic bin rack on the front of it. I don't have an example of the bins, but you know the ones, the little maxi bins. You just hang them on this punched steel back panel. I've got several of those. I've got about 4 of those panels, so I'm going to put one on the back of there, or even 2, and I'm also going to have one up there where the old pH monitor was. So that's all going to change too. Anyway, onwards. There we go. That's material I'm going to be using. It's 10mm thick. Not quite as wide as the foot pads, but close enough. Yeah, it's good stuff. This is recycled from some scrap that I bought from work. I bought about 130 kilos of this 25 by 50 by 3mm 316 stainless tube stock scrap. They're scrap support brackets and braces and other things. Blue Rav's currently carrying all that at the moment. I'll relieve him of that weight fairly soon, well, tomorrow or something. But for now, yeah, Nice stash of stuff, and some of them have this attached to it. Only a few of them, but yeah, some nice strips of UHMW. Although I do have... No, that's acetal, that's really expensive stuff. Yeah, that's all UH, but of course they're donuts. That's one of the donuts that I was moving the Battenfeld around on. Incredibly good wear properties. There's a bit of ultra high there. UHMW stands for ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. UHMW PE. Yeah, that's a piece of UHMW. But that's 12mm thick. And there's not quite enough of it to make all the pads. I don't want to jack this up too high, so we'll go with the 10mm. It'll do just fine. There we go. It's one wear pad on. Second wear pad ready to go. And plenty of screws. And lots of screws. So yeah, wear pads work very well. Wear pads. A lot safer than werewolves. You've got to be a lot safer with a wear pad than a werewolf. Well, I've been a bit busy. Fairly busy. Decided to add some cosmetic little braces on the crane just to keep the OH&S nuts happy. I'm happy with my welding on there, but since I got a whole pile of them from work, I figured I'd weld them on there. Yeah, and they're also sitting up another 100mm higher, 120mm or so. And as you can see, the motor's off. I was expecting a gear attached to the motor straight into the gearbox, but no, it's actually a sealed shaft drive straight in, so I can clean all that up no problem. The key's a bit messed up though. So the key out at all. Yeah, the key is really chewed up. One of the many reasons why this thing is going to be noisy. That and the exposed bearing race in the top there, that's a pretty nasty little thing. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to clean it up and throw a cover over it and then put my lifting hook basically right there, so that I can lift the whole lot up together. And try and balance it. I'll probably have a sling under here. Just sling it off that bit there. Bring the table all the way forward, just balance the weight and bring it straight up and slide the table underneath it. Should work quite well. The motor, well, it's a fairly standard flange mount design. Oh wow, look at that keyway. Not supposed to be that big. Yeah, that key's had a really hard life. Yeah, 3-phase induction motor. Is at 1.5 horse. It says 415 volt on it, but I'm just going to wire it in delta anyway and just run it on 220 volt delta. Should work just fine, even if I only get 1 horsepower out of it, I'll be happy. That, or I'll find a replacement one. Hell, even a single phase flange mount that suits that frame design would be perfect. I'll look at the Metric catalogue and just see what they have in that frame style, just to see what what I can drop in as a single phase cap start cap run motor. I just realised something. Instead of the shaft spinning in the seal's spinning with the shaft. It's yeah, that seal's past it. You gotta love China. Oh, there we go. That's how you lift a mill in a very confined space. I'm using some high tensile chain just to bring the chain block up as high as possible. The rolling blocks are that much too low. And yeah, just touching the roof. It's doing pretty good. Oh well, guess I better lower it into place, and I'll throw a couple of bolts in there just for the hell of it. I'm not going to use all thread going all the way through it. They were too long to actually clear the top.